Where we're on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're live.
We're live.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is John Chambers here, Tamar Chambers and Angelica Chambers, my two daughters. So here we are again, another week, still discussing. Well, we're moving on slightly from where we were last week, and we are looking at the issue of Black Lives Matter in the context of what do we say about black on black crime, black on black prejudice, etc. So I'm not necessarily going to be the one to start off. Tamar will start off this time for a change.
Okay. Well, we were just discussing. What were we discussing just before we came on here? We were talking about. There was a comment online that says, black on black crime and doesn't exist, but obviously that's wrong. There's a lot of There's a lot of talk about gangs and war things going on, and within the gangs, that's where a lot of the black on black crime comes from, mostly because you see black boys who are against other black boys for foolish reasons, maybe, I don't know, money, etc. Let's just say etc. Don't really want to get into the nitty-gritty on here, but yeah. Money, etc. are partly parts of the reasons why they then go into this like war with each other, and then they start killing each other. And when one person is killed on one side, then the other side is coming to kill another one on that side. Boom, boom, it just carries on, even to the point where younger people who are in that gang then grow up and have the rivalry with other young people that have grown up in the gang, but it actually has, nothing to do with them. And it's a big problem because if you even look in London, how many young boys are getting stabbed and killed all the time, and their mums are always going on the news chatting about they don't know what's going on, and they don't know why he got killed. But nah, I don't want to sound bad, but nah.
They do always
you do, yeah. They always say they don't know why the son's been killed, and he was such a good boy, and all these things. Sometimes, fair enough, there are people that just get caught in the crossfire. That's a different whole thing together. That's a whole different thing. But most of the time, these boys, they know what they're doing, and they know where they're going, and they know what crime they're doing, and they know the rivalries, they know what's going on. It's just maybe the mum doesn't know because it's all out on the road. At the end of the day, it's not in their yard, is it? So, and the mum is not going out on the road with them watching every little thing that they're doing. So how can you be saying, he was such a good boy? But if he was a good boy, how's he getting involved in this gang life and getting stabbed to death?
Well, I would put out two things that I think are an issue for that. And anyone who's watching, anyone who comes on, share this. Let other people know that we're live. Anyone who wants to be involved, wants to join the conversation, you're most welcome to join. Share and let other people know that we're here. I've got two things that I would say about it. Firstly, identity is the issue.
Yeah.
And I believe that's why young black men and boys are going into gangs, because they're looking for identity. So they join in the gangs because they're looking for, as they call it, fam. So they join so that they can be part of a family. They can have a sense of belonging. They've got them big brothers, etc. They've got what they feel are mentors, whether it be negative or not. And so there is an issue there to speak about. I'm throwing this out there so that we can talk about it anyway, that our black men are failing the younger generation in their mentoring because they're not there, they're not standing up for them and with them as much as they should. And so hence they look for that male role model from wherever they can look for it. There are lots of families where there is single mothers raising these young men, And as much as mother wants to raise her son in a right manner and raise him up to be a productive citizen, without the male identity, in most cases, they can't. And so these young men go and look for that male role model from where they can find it, rather than expecting that mum can do that, because she can't.
Yeah.
Even though some mums feel that they can, but the boys will still go out and look for other males, and they'll start following them, following what they do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it is. So that's one side of it, which is an issue. And I think the other side of it, which may be more difficult to define, but for me as a Christian, it isn't, because for us who preach the word of God, and by the way, my Facebook or YouTube lives are not about preaching as such, but I'm not going to forget who I am. So if anyone is there saying, "Oh, I don't want to be preached to," that's all very good and well, because I'm not preaching to you. But being a Christian is not just a Sunday or a Wednesday thing. It is my life and my lifestyle. And I believe very strongly that, you know, racism in any form, whether it's color prejudice or otherwise, which we're going to come and define and talk about some of the differences of how black people treat each other as well as white. It's not just about color. It's an evil.
Yeah.
It's something that's coming from the inside of your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you have to deal with. It's not just about color.
Yeah.
You know, we of course, color is an issue, and we talk very much about the fact that you know, for people of color, there is an issue in terms of racism and racial prejudice and color prejudice, if you like, and all of these things and how we're treated. But black people also have a responsibility of what they need to do in order to eradicate any of that kind of prejudice from their own families, from their lives, from their communities. And it's not just about blaming it all on white people. This is the difficult conversations that we often don't like to have, but we do need to go there.
Yeah.
So, Angelica is just listening for now. So, let's turn to the identity issue first. I think.
Yeah.
The identity issue is something that we really do need to look at, because there isn't. Hi, Anita. Join the conversation. There is an issue in that. Let me speak about what I know, because that's the easiest way to do this, really. As a Jamaican growing up, we were always calling every other island in the Caribbean small island, and always when many of the Jamaicans use that terminology, it was done in a derogatory manner. And it's kind of stupid, because yes, geographically, size-wise, those other islands are smaller. But they said it as if to say that the people themselves are small, as in small-minded, small financially, just small. And that, you know, Jamaica is big, and Jamaica is not even big anyway. But you know, it was the mentality that them small island people, you know. And again, it's a prejudice, because even to the point where, at least when I was young, I'm not that old, but I ain't young to that either, you know. So in my day, Jamaicans they're not even marrying small island people. They're not going out with small island people. Africans, they're not going out with them. They're not marrying them. I have Jamaican family even till now. They ask me, why did you marry an African? I will not give you on here the full answer that I gave them, because you will think I'm a different species than who I'm supposed to be. Right? But I had to ask them if they're okay, because that's an absolute prejudice. Right? And I can tell you, I can remember a particular situation of somebody who wanted to marry an African man, and it was an absolute uproar in the family. This Jamaican lady wanted to marry an African man, and they were just like, no way, no, 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 and the family were going absolutely crazy. Because as far as they're concerned, you don't know him, you don't know his culture, you don't know what he's going to do, and all kinds of nonsense things. And this was many, many years ago. And those people are still married until today. So, you know, and I was just but a teenager at that time. But the family were against it like nothing else, the Jamaican family, simply because he's an African and you don't know. And so you see, already when you start with that kind of identity crisis, you know, there's things that we've heard, like even Africans who don't like Jamaicans because Jamaicans were slaves, and they see them as different, they're second rated, and all kinds of things. Yes, I've seen Anita said her brother was married to someone from Barbados. Good. Because we're all people. It doesn't matter whether you want to marry somebody from China, from Japan, from Samoa. It doesn't matter. If the person is a good person, they're good, and if they're not, they're not. It's as simple as that. But we do need to address some of these things that we sweep under the carpet, because black people are not really great towards each other.
No,
they really aren't, and that has nothing to do with you know, whether or not we should be treated badly by white police or any other police. That in itself is another story which we've spoken about quite a bit. But now the issue is the identity, and I'm sure Tamar and Angelica, as ladies, can talk of stories of the same thing. You know, these are my daughters, and one is dark and one is not. So let's start there. Yeah, because for a lot of black people, that there is an issue.
Yeah.
One is dark, one is not, and me, I'm in between the two.
Yeah. I think a lot of the time I actually spoke about this on the other live, didn't I? Where I said people would be saying things to me like when I was younger, like, oh, this is other like darker skinned black people be saying like, oh, your skin is so nice. I wish my skin was like that. And obviously I was never brought up in a way where the you know, the darkness of your skin or the lightness of your skin was anything. So to me, I was thinking, what the hell? I was thinking these people are, you know, I was just thinking in my head,
they're crazy.
Yeah, these people are crazy, but it's really an issue because even somebody, I'm not going to say the name, but somebody that I know and other people know who I'm talking about, they were speaking one day, and it's already clear that they had some sort of color issues with them. They had identity issues. That was very clear already. The person said, oh, you know, I wish my mum got with a white man so I could look like my cousin.
Wow. You see?
And my friend turned around and said, what the hell are you talking about? She said, don't say those things. What are you talking about? Then the person was like, oh, you know, kind of just brushed it off and didn't really say anything about it. But that just is one example of the mindset that certain darker skinned black people have, because they've had prejudice, and even from other black people like we're talking about, that will be, oh, look at you, you're blick and all these things. And I don't even know what blick is, because blick, what are you talking about? Blick is supposed to be blacker than black.
That you're very dark.
Yeah, but how is that even? How can you be blacker than black? This is black. No one I know is
nobody we know is dark as this.
Yeah, and this is
even
black.
Even the darkest of dark, and even if they were,
what does that mean?
What?
Yeah.
Does it even matter?
What does it matter?
Anita had put here and said that she's from royal family, and then you know they have an issue there with the, which I know I've known other Africans the same from other parts of Africa. They don't want anybody to marry them, even who's not part of the so-called royalty. Again, and this is really where I'm pushing at. That this is a bloodline issue.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I didn't come on here to preach per se, but I am a preacher, so that's still in me. And I always have to say what I have to say.
Yeah.
The bloodline issue is a lot more deeper than the color issue.
Yeah.
And the bloodline issue is an issue that covers anybody, white, black, Indian, Pakistani, Chinese, or whatever it is, because it has to do with what is in your blood.
Yeah.
And this is what makes the evil that comes out the way that you treat people is a bloodline issue.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Right? It's not just about color, which is the reason why when they don't have the white and black issue, they then now go to the light and dark.
Yeah.
And when they don't have that, they then start on the tribal.
Yeah, tribal.
And so they always are looking for something to make a division, because it's a bloodline issue.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we need to understand, that these words, even that young people use on the street, yeah, blood, yeah, fam. It's not just words they use it. No,
it's not.
Blood is blood. They know what they're saying. They know what they're saying. They are covenanted by blood to those people who they're in a gang with.
Yeah.
Right? You have to understand that. And the thing is that even in gangs, there are people who are in those gangs who are white, who are black, who are Indian, and they're all in the same gang because it's a bloodline issue. And the reason why they can be in the gang together, they're all fam. Light skin, dark skin, Indian, brown man, black man, they're all together and they're all fam.
Yeah.
Right? But other people who don't get that and don't understand that it's a bloodline issue, they I don't like this one and I don't like that one. And no, you have to look deeper, because we can forever be singing and dancing about the white man doesn't like us and white people are wicked and they're killing off black people. Black people are killing off black people.
Yeah.
All right. So let's address that as well.
Exactly.
Because the fact is, I don't want to see anybody killing anybody else. Leave them alone. Let them live their life. That's the bottom line to all of this.
Yeah.
That to just point the finger one way, it's not really helpful. And not all white people are killing black people.
No.
Not all white people are killing anybody.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's what also, those foolish white people, the bad ones, I think that's what also fuels them to have this dislike towards black people, because then they think, oh, well, look, you lot are not even together. You're not even, there's no unity even in your own community. You're all against each other. You're all killing each other. And they just see that as us being, uncivilized.
Yeah,
divided, uncivilized, all those things. And to them, they just say, oh, well, see, that's why I'm not even interested in them black people, because look at all the foolishness.
They lack leadership.
Yeah, they lack leadership. Nobody's telling them what to, nobody's guiding them. They're all just savages and all that. That's what they think.
And we as black people, we lack leadership.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest issue of all. Even what I'm doing here, these are my daughters. Okay? Now they could be doing any other thing, and I'm not forcing them, by the way, to be here. But here's what you have to understand, that I, as an elder to them, I have a responsibility to show them something, to give them an example. I might be even the one who's doing the most talking today, or even most of the days. But that's point doesn't really matter. The fact is that I want them to know that we can stand up and we can speak for ourselves.
Yeah.
I've taught my children from very young to speak up and speak for themselves, to the point where when they've been in school, the school teachers have really had a problem. Because I have never allowed, I've told my children, they come home, dad this, dad that. I'm like, what did you say? I'm not interested in what the teacher said. What did you say?
Yeah.
I asked them, how did you deal with it? Because I've taught them to stand up for themselves. And these two ladies here, you can't joke with them. All right? You cannot play games with them, because they can stand up for themselves. And here's my point, that we need to be able to teach our young people how to stand up for themselves effectively, not to be cussing and swearing at police and people who might be in authority above them, but how to speak to them in a manner that is effective.
Yeah.
Are you understanding me? That so that when you're telling them, look, listen, this is wrong, this is an injustice, be able to explain yourself properly, be able to explain yourself effectively. And hence, they're both adults now, and I know they don't have any issue in defending themselves. No man, woman, or beast can walk over them. They will tell you that for themselves. They've got their own stories of how they deal with life and what's going on for them. And this is my point, that we have to keep on having these conversations and provoking people to understand how to look after themselves in this society, and also to be truthful. You see, one thing about us as a family, we don't hide anything, and we don't pretend that that things are one-sided. So where we are right, and we celebrate that. But when we're wrong, we also own up where we're wrong. And as a society, as black people, because I'm talking mainly to black people, white people who are listening, bless your heart, and I love you too. But a lot of my conversation is not at you or about you. I'm speaking at this moment mainly to our black community, and I'm saying that we've got to be truthful. All right, we've got to own where we're wrong, as well as pointing the finger at others. Own where you, black man, where you're wrong. Let's talk about business, for instance. All right, let's talk about that. These two are saying, so go on, help me. Speak. Go on.
Well, we were discussing that a little bit, weren't we, last week, about the issues within the black community, and when it comes to business. Well, a lot of the time, I'm seeing on Twitter now, people are promoting black businesses hard, and this is only because of this whole movement with the Black Lives Matter. But how come before Black Lives Matter, none of you wanted to show your friend's company? None of you wanted to put your auntie's company. None of you wanted to put your sister's company. Nobody was even looking to find black companies to shop from. No one was even interested. Everyone's just going to the Indian man shop to get their hair product, or to the white man shop to get their food or whatever. Yeah, and I'm not saying that is a problem, but what I'm saying is we haven't even we don't support each other, and then you can't expect for things to thrive, because at the end of the day, if you're a black person, you open up a shop, and it's whether it's hair, food, whatever, it's not really appealing too much to the.
Let's swap these mics.
That one's a bit quiet.
It's too loud.
This one's louder. Yeah, it's not really appealing. Not even appealing, but it's not really for the white people, is it? Because unless they're a white person that's a bit more cultured and, knows about products and wants to use natural things from Africa and Jamaica and all them places, and food as well, they're not really going to be going to those shops. So who's going there? Us. Yeah. And what's happening? We're not even owning these shops. It's Asian people mostly. And why? Because actually Asian in their culture, there's a lot more community going on, and that's why they have so many shops here, there, everywhere. They're all going to these shops. They're all thriving because they all support each other. In the black community, it's very, very rare that people support each other. Even like I was saying on Twitter, people are. I don't know what the hatred. It's like people. That's what it is. I think it stems from slavery.
Well, right? Angelica, why do you think it is?
I don't know.
What do you think is wrong with black people? Why they behave like that to each other? What would you say when you see it? What would you think is the reason?
Self-hatred.
Self-hatred. A thing that's which in psychology they call cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, that's cognitive dissonance. Yeah.
Right? And cognitive dissonance is a real thing.
Yeah,
it's an issue.
Yeah,
I think I'd mentioned once before that I worked for someone who at one point had 5 shops. And the worst people for this guy with his 5 shops, the worst people were people who looked like us, because they always wanted to have credit.
Yeah.
Right? And then when they're not getting the credit, they start cursing the man's business.
Yeah.
Right? And wanting his business to collapse. Now, I can give you a very, very good example myself as a person who for many years was self-employed and also ran my own business. When we ran a recruitment agency, I would say that 90% of our staff were black. And we deliberately put ourselves out there as a black-owned business. We targeted black people deliberately and specifically. We did have white people working for us. We had white people in the office, in the admin, and we did have some white support workers and so forth. But majority of the staff were black, and they were rude. I'm telling you now, without a shadow of a doubt, too many of them were rude. The white staff who worked for us, we didn't have any problem, and I'm not joking. We had no problem. But many of the black staff,
Yeah,
all kinds of
exactly.
things.
It does sound.
We had
right.
to be writing them letters, telling them about this, telling them about that, telling them about their behavior, and it was really a serious issue. And you see, my view about all of that is that it's that you got to do better. You don't like something, then don't do it. I don't want to be treated like a second-class citizen. I don't want to be treated worse than anybody else. Then don't behave like it.
Yeah,
Are you understanding me? Because if you are professional in your attitude and your behavior, then it's just like that. I was a trainer, and everybody knew that when I did my work, I don't joke. I can be a very good comedian and I can laugh and joke, but when I'm working and when I'm doing my stuff, I don't play games. I'm straight and I'm serious, and all the staff, they knew that. So I told them from the get-go, I said, listen, when you're coming to my training courses, right, don't look at me and try to tell me I'm a black man like you. I don't care. I don't have any color, right? I'm a trainer.
Trainer.
You understand? And you're coming to my training, do not be late. So I will have people of a certain persuasion who will be turning up late without even considering it. They'll just turn up. They'll just turn up, and then they'll be saying like, "Oh, well, you know, this happened and that happened and blah blah blah." The bus, all kind of stories. So I said, "Listen," I said, let's do it this way. If you turn up and you are 15 to 20 minutes late, beyond that time, the secretary will speak to you and you will go home.
Yeah.
You will not speak to me because I'm already busy. Right?
Teaching the class.
I'm already teaching the class. You've come and you want to disrupt. They'd come and they say, "Oh, you're an Uncle Tom. You're not a proper black man.
Wow.
You don't
because
you have a British accent. You think you're better than us.
That's how you know
and all of these type of things." And I would just look at them, and I tell you, they didn't know because I wouldn't say anything, but it actually hurt me in my spirit. Because I'm looking at them and saying, "Don't you know I'm your fellow black man?
Yeah.
We are supposed to be working together." Let me tell you, and yes, everybody will have maybe a different experience. The people who complained against me the most were the people who looked exactly like me. My own black people were the ones who made the most complaints against me. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that.
It's not even shocking.
Keep talking about the business issue.
Because
Freddie Kofi said, let me read it. It's long, but I know.
But read it, yeah.
I do not think people weren't united, but we need to think of it in terms of how rich diversity exists even within black culture. As a proud African Briton, I was born in Nottingham, but grew up speaking in my African and British tongue with equal fluency. Good. You're a blessed man. Both my black friends and white friends used to find it strange. You see? and I understand that too. So we need to look at our commonalities and celebrate differences too. I am a Ghanaian by heritage, but we are totally different from the Ugandans. So in the Caribbean, differences, but instead of celebrating such amazing diversity, we tend to see it as a vice. That is true. I see as belonging to an amazing array of richly blessed people. Yes. And that I think is the issue, that we need to celebrate the differences, so that we can understand. Okay, we came from different places in the world for whatever reason, whether it was because of slavery, colonialism,
whatever,
whatever. So what? It is what it is. But then we should be able to celebrate the greatness that's in all of us. And this is why I'm saying that it is important to speak, as a family, because like I keep emphasizing, and everybody who's watching, as you can see, I have my two daughters here with me. And why am I emphasizing that? Am I trying to show off? No, I'm not trying to show off per se, but yes, I am. All right, because we can do this, and not everybody can do this. And I'm not saying that makes me more great than some, but I'm doing this even so that others can also see it and understand. Listen, get your family together sometimes. If you decide to watch something on TV, watch it together and speak about it together. I've always done that with my children since they were small. we'll watch something. I say, what do you think that really means?
Yeah.
Why have they put that? I said, it's only a movie, but why have they put that in the movie?
Yeah.
And I will ask them, what do you see about that in your life, in the world that you live in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now we do that with each other.
And now it's automatic. Even now, my granddaughter is the same. She watched something and she's very analytical about the TV because it's the way we've been as a family. So if even there's an issue, she's had all sorts of issues in school, but she's very analytical about it, and which now the teachers can't handle that.
Yeah.
Because what they wanted was for her to come there and just be quiet.
Yeah.
And she can't. Because she's
thing.
got that same Chambers spirit
Yeah.
where I will ask that question. Have a look at what's happening to you and analyze it.
Yeah.
Don't just be negative about it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this also for us as black people. Let's not just be negative about things that we see towards one another. We've seen black guys are stabbing each other and blah. Okay,
So what's
we
going
know.
on?
Let's analyze the reasons behind it. Let's try and look at what's going on.
See what we can do.
My son, my baby son, as I call him, and he's not a baby anymore. He'll be 19 in a minute. He's in prison, right? He's in prison for drug dealing.
Yeah.
Now, here, the last conversation, we had an intervention with him, his mother, and I'm not married to his mother. We sat and we were here talking. And the last thing that my son said, and really, we didn't have much of an answer. And he's come from a good background. He's been spoiled by mum. He's been spoiled by dad. He's been spoiled by stepmom. He's been spoiled by his older sisters.
Everybody.
And still, he turned around and he said to me, well, I'm doing what I'm doing because we haven't got anything else.
You see?
We haven't got anything else.
And
Right?
he's talking about him and his power.
And he's talking because he's identifying with his fam. You see?
Yeah.
He's identifying with his fam. It's not really about him per se,
Yeah.
but he has identified with a group of people, a group of youth.
Yeah.
And many of them, because I asked him, I said, do they even have a dad that sits down with them and talks the way that you and I do? And he said, no, because what he often does, he'll come to me and he'll ask me something, and I know it's a problem or an issue of one of his friends. And he'll say, Dad, what do you think about this? And we'll sit and we'll talk about it. And he'll go through a scenario, as he puts it. And me, I know there's no scenario. This is real.
Is it? Yeah.
Right? And when he's finished with his scenario, I'll tell him, tell them, right? Because I know it's his fam. Tell them, blah blah blah. And I even tell them to come and see me, but they don't. They don't. And this is the difficulty that we have. That this distance and division and disparity that we have, amongst us as black people, it's hard to break.
Yeah.
But this is why we've got to talk about it and we've got to challenge it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and yes, it's sad, and it's really sad when we see that young men have killed each other. Young black men have killed each other, and that they're in gangs and they're in separate factions and all of this. It really is sad. But we've got to understand the reasoning behind it, and like I said, this all is about identity.
Yeah.
And about belonging. You see, and if we as people don't homogenize, then we're failing.
Yeah.
We're not only failing ourselves at this level, but we're failing our whole community. We're failing the next generation and the next generation to come.
Yeah. So
we can't just leave this and only look at one side and point the finger one way. But even aside from that, there's this thing that I've always said, and I use it as an example often. When you're on the plane and they give you all that stuff about these are the safety measures, blah blah blah, and people usually either snore off. They're like,
got their ears.
I heard it all before. Right? So we're not listening.
Yeah.
But now when they give you those safety measures, they tell you that if you should need oxygen, okay, when the masks come down, they tell you put on your own mask first.
Yeah.
All right.
And they tell you hard as well.
When you have put on your own mask, then you can help others. Even if it's your child, your baby, or whosoever. Why are they telling you that? Because the fact is that they're busy trying to fix your child, and you're not in a good state yourself. You'll just it won't work. So what am I saying? instead of pointing the finger so far out at others, the white man did this and this their fault and blah blah blah. Cool, we know. Okay, but what are you doing within your society, within your community? How many lives are you affecting positively?
Yeah.
How many young men, young women are you mentoring if you're an elder? If you're a younger, how many elders have you tried to see if they need anything from you? And you'll say, look, can I give you this? Can I help you with this? Huh? What are you doing? Whose grass did you cut?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because even like that, like you said, even whose grass did you cut? That even goes then to the point of when younger black people are not even helping the elders who need help. You know, there's lots of older black people who don't have any help apart from if it's church. You know, if they go to church, they'll get some help from a few old, and still they're mostly older people as well, like dad's age and stuff, who will be helping like the elderly in church and things like that. But otherwise, there's no young black people really helping anybody.
Not even their own grandchildren.
Yeah, hardly even their own grandchildren. They're just leaving them there and they're going out. Yeah, because they're too busy partying and whatever else. They can't even help their community or their family. And you know, the funniest thing is I seen on because I think I said this last week, I seen on Twitter, somebody put what do they say? Oh, because of this whole Black Lives Matter thing, this should show people that we need to come together as a community. And they said, I don't want to ever see African versus Caribbean again. Because on Twitter, it was a big thing.
Talk about that more, because
food.
maybe those people don't know, if they're not part of your network or whatever, they've not seen that.
Yeah. On Twitter,
that's a real thing.
On Twitter, it's
African versus Caribbean.
Yeah, it is. It's a big thing, you know, like especially for my age group. Like everybody, when you meet people, everybody asks, "Oh, are you African? Are you Caribbean? Where are you from?" And even a lot of the time, which is actually quite funny, people say to me, "Oh, you're Caribbean, aren't you?" And I say, "Yeah." Then they say, "Oh, you're Jamaican." And I say, "Yeah, I am." And then I'm thinking to myself, "Well, how do you know?" I'm saying, "Oh, it's just the way you are." I said,
what does that even mean?
That's what I said. And then I said, well, actually, I'm not even full Jamaican. I said, I have Italian family as well. And then that's when they get even more confused. Oh, well, which one are you more? Which are you Jamaican more?
What does that mean as well?
I just said, both.
Everything.
I've been brought up with both.
Which one is she more human?
Yeah, exactly. I said I've been brought up with both cultures, so I don't understand this. Or which one are you more? Yeah, but you have to be more one than the other.
No, why?
I said, no, I don't. And then they're like, you know, because they're all confused in their mind.
They don't
they're
know
thinking,
what else to say
well,
after that.
You're not really maybe to them, they don't think you're supposed to identify with more than one place. And it's hard for a lot of light-skinned black people and mixed race people to find their identity as well. That's another identity issue, because people then say, oh, you're not black enough.
Yeah, because if you was darker, they wouldn't be asking you that.
That's what I'm saying. If I was darker, they wouldn't be asking me, oh, what's going on and all this. Are you mixed race? What's happened? They don't ask them questions. When you're darker skinned, it's just, oh, you're black. But as soon as it's like, oh, they think you have white blood or something like that, then it's, you're not black enough. Because somebody was saying on Twitter, once again, because it's serious on there. It's serious on there, you know, about, because a mixed race girl, but she was very, very, very light-skinned. And she wrote on there, it was about a hair product. And she wrote, I've used this hair product for my hair, but it's not that good. And then somebody commented, oh, white girl, why are you commenting on black people things? This ain't got nothing to do with you. And she commented back and said, actually, her dad is black. She commented and said, my dad is black. I'm mixed race, so I don't know what you're talking about. It's got nothing to do with me. Then the people commented again to that. Then when they found out she's mixed race, then it was, oh, well, you're white passing anyway. And furthermore,
that's the problem. That's it.
And furthermore, you're still not black.
See,
mixed
all
race
of that right there.
Black.
White passing.
And
all of that there, you're white passing. Stop all of that.
That's foolishness.
Stop all of that. Black people, stop your rubbish.
Yeah. And this is what I'm talking about. And
we need to be united, not divided.
Yeah, and that's
you're
what
trying to
saying.
look for the little bit of color difference.
Things, yeah.
Listen, there's 3 different colors here, but the 2 of them came from me.
Exactly.
They are my children. So what's all the rubbish
This is what
about
I'm saying.
who's lighter than who
Foolishness.
and who's darker than who? And
You even see
look
families,
at her
don't
hair
you?
and look at her hair and look at
Yeah.
all these things,
Mhm.
man. Before you've even begun to prosper, people are already kicking your feet from
Yeah.
underneath you.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
We need to stop that.
It has to
Yeah.
stop.
We need to stop
It
it.
has to stop. And the African
Support
Caribbean,
each other.
they were even that African
so
Caribbean.
bad.
It's really bad,
It's
right?
so bad.
They were even discussing. Then first it was about because they even there was a music clash. That's how serious it got. Remember I told you? I think it was Vibes Cartel and someone else.
A Nigerian.
Yeah, a Nigerian
guy,
artist. Yeah.
artist.
Because to be fair, I don't mean to put anything on Nigerians, but Nigerian people that are my age, a lot of the time they are the ones that seem to have a big problem when it
issues.
comes with the different cultures.
That's in the early 20s age group. That's what she's saying.
With the cultures.
Early 20s, early 30s, early 50s.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
And a lot of I told you this before, didn't I, Dad, about the dating when it comes
Yes.
to the men. And a lot of men, they will date girls, you know, say in university, school, whatever. They'll date all different kind of girl, white girl, black girl, whatever, Caribbean. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter. Slovakia, whatever. They're dating everyone, yeah. But here's where the difference. They're not taking them seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So only to them,
But they're not
they must
taking them
only date. They must only marry a Nigerian, or they must only marry a Ghanaian, or they must only marry, like Dad was saying, a Jamaican, whatever. That's how the men are going on a lot of the time. They'll date these girls. They know that the girls are, you know, falling in love or whatever, but they're not
They're just
interested.
playing a game.
They're just playing a game, and then they just move on.
Just getting their jollies. So
Yeah,
to speak.
exactly. Let's
speak
just
the
be
truth.
honest. Yeah, just getting that, and then that's it. Bye bye. Or I can't take you seriously because my mum wants me to marry blah blah blah.
Yeah, and you can't fit my
And
culture
you can't fit
and all
my
of
culture.
these things.
Yeah,
You see.
my mum won't accept you and all these things. And that's a real thing. People are actually scared to bring home like a white person or even a light skinned person, or it's vice versa, or somebody that's not, if they're Ghanaian, someone that's not Ghanaian, then I'm not coming to your wedding because you're not marrying a Ghanaian, and I'm not interested in that. All these types of things. What is that all about?
And again, these are not just empty stories.
No.
Okay, because obviously you don't necessarily want to chat somebody else's business.
Yeah.
But these are things that
real
have actually
things.
happened.
Yeah.
Where fathers have said, "I will not go to your wedding." Because you didn't marry a Ghanaian and we are Ghanaians, and I expected you to marry somebody from such and such tribe and you did not. So I will not go to your wedding. And they don't go.
Can you imagine that though?
You understand?
That's
and
what I'm
those
saying,
things, you know, are an issue. Now,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. And this was just recent.
This is recent, Marissa. So yes, you're right. It's happening now. And this is what we're saying, that it's a now thing. It's not even thing that we can talk. We know that it's gone on historically over the years.
Yeah.
But you would think in 2020, right, that it would be better. But people are not yet actually behaving better.
No, they're not.
So now when we look at the whole issue of, you know, what's going on worldwide and, you know, all of the things that have happened. So we then talk about George Floyd and others. We also have to look at the context from where all these things are coming, because there's also a thing that many of the white people, not all, but many, especially those who are, I would say, the ones who don't like you, then they're saying if you yourselves don't show that you like yourselves, you don't like yourself, and you don't like yourselves, then
why should we?
Why should we? You don't respect yourselves. Why should we?
And that's
see, and this is the problem.
But does that work the other way as well, though?
Well, maybe not so much, because you see, but that's again, Angelica said, does it work the other way? But you see, the choice of support, it's a personal choice, isn't it? You choose to support your community the way you do. So hence we said, listen, black community, you know, when you are seeing a black business, don't try to collapse it. Right, try to support it in the best way that you can. But now let me say something right up front about some of the black businesses, particularly and especially many of the African ones. All right, let me talk about Leeds. because that's where I live. I can talk about other places, by the way, but let's just talk about Leeds. I've been to several shops belonging to Africans for one reason or another, whether it be for groceries or maybe it's a barber shop or some other kind of My barber is a Gambian. Big up CJ. So that's a little advert for you, CJ. So the next haircut is free, right? CJ barbers in hair heels, bad man things, right? Enough respect. I've been going there for CJ has been cutting my hair for 20 years. So and we're cool. When I say cool, we're cool because he understands how to respect people, and people respect him. And if they don't respect him, he will even ask you to leave the shop. And it's just like that. And that's cool. That's right and correct. But we went once a particular side of Leeds where we were looking for some seasoning that we had forgotten. We were going to a friend's house to make a meal. So we went to this shop, looked for the seasoning, and they said, yes, we have it. So we grabbed the seasoning off the shelf, we paid for it, and we stepped out the shop. Then we decided to look at the seasoning, and it was 2 years out of date. Right?
Disgusting.
So we went back to the shop. My wife went back to the shop. She said, yeah. She said, listen, this is 2 years out of date. So we want back our money.
Yeah.
The woman gave her back her money and put the thing back on the shelf.
Oh my God.
I knew you was going to say
You see what I mean?
Right? Put it back on the shelf. And I've been to a few shops like that. And when you point those things out to them, they are angry with you as if you don't have a right. How dare you challenge me with what I'm selling in my shop? No,
then.
but you see, this is all part of the problem, that we must raise our standard. Okay, we must raise our standard in everything that we do, so that it is at a level that is commensurate with everybody else in terms of what we do. So you can't expect now. You are a black tradesman and you start doing a job for someone, a job which may be supposed to take 2 days and you've taken 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And then every day when you're coming, you're hanging around in the kitchen waiting for a cup of tea and seeing if they'll give you a little bite to eat. And you're hanging on because, black people tend to be always having something, they share their food in a different way than white people because that's part of our culture. So you're hanging around waiting for the soup and for these other things, you see, but you're taking 2 weeks to do a job which the Irish man or the white man would have taken 2 days.
And
you see
out.
And then you start about black people don't support me and all of these type of things. Let's be careful, because let's make sure that we're real, and that we respect one another. You see,
that's what it's about.
Respect yourself in the work that you're delivering, and respect yourself in if you're the customer or the provider. You see, but when we're not doing that, go on, Tamer.
Because there's a reason that you see, there are some. Look at Atlanta, for instance. Why are black people thriving there? Why do you think? Because when you look into the communities and they all support each other. They go to their salons, they go into their grocery shop, they're buying their products, they're supporting their galas, balls, all these things, charities. They all support each other. And why? Because they all know, they all have the correct mindset that if we support each other, this is how we build ourselves up. This is how we become not low but high. And that's why there's a lot of wealthy black people there, and it's actually like the capital for black wealthy people in America. And even to the point where if you see, the black wealthy people are even mixing with the white elite people in that area as well. Why? Because they all know that they need to come together as a community to support each other and do things for each other, and they respect each other's businesses. They don't try to shortfall each other, or because you're not getting a free coat, now I'm gonna cuss you off to everyone and say, your stuff is cheap and crusty and blah blah blah. People are not doing those things, and when you are doing those things, that's why you end up with That's why you end up with businesses that can't thrive even when they are good, because people are so hating on another black person and on another black person doing well. They hate to see it.
Yeah.
And this is what I was saying before about, I feel like it stems from slavery, where you have a hatred for somebody else who's black but is doing better than you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not, oh, why should they do better than me? We're the same. You know, we're both black. Why are they
That's
doing better?
definitely where the colorism comes from.
Of course, that's where the colorism comes from as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, from the slavery times. And I was, explaining to somebody on Instagram that the slavery mindset is still alive
Of course it
in
is.
black and white people. Everyone,
Yeah, it is.
all of them, all the cultures. India, same thing, still there. Going in with the class,
the caste system.
yeah, the caste system. Light skinned people are good. Dark skinned people are trash, low. They can't even get a good job, and they will always be low. All them things.
Anyway.
Yeah, them like
All of those places: India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh,
China,
Sri
all of
Lanka.
them.
China.
All of them under the caste system. China has the caste system.
Yeah.
Because there are very dark Chinese people who they keep out in the fields, and some people don't even know that they exist. You see, and again, even if you look at that, because it still goes back to what I said before, that it's deeper than the color issue, because the tribalism of Africans, which is not just only Africans, but it's a worldwide. Tribalism is a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
If you look at tribalism and study it, it was a very strong thing even in Scotland and other places. Tribalism is, again, it's about you. You're not part of me. You're not part of us.
You don't identify.
And so this is about negative identity. You see, and I knew that when we picked up this subject, we probably wouldn't have so many people jumping on this one. Watching and talking and contributing, because it's those things that people want to get away from. They don't want to talk about it, and so I can see the viewing is low. You understand? because people are challenged by this subject and they want to sweep it under the carpet. They also don't want to look at their own attitudes and behaviors in this particular area.
This is what
so I understood very well that it would be like that. But we do what we're doing. We come on here each week and we're coming with different things. We've stuck around the subject of racism and color for the last few weeks, and we will be moving on to other things, but that's where we're at the moment. Because it's topical around the world anyway. It's topical to us because we are black. And we know what we've experienced, and so we think we've got something to say. We also believe that many people may watch this later. Some people look and think, well, they're quite long. Sometimes they're on there for whatever length of time. That's cool. You watch
part of it.
Watch whatever you want to watch. Forward it. Do whatever you want to do with it. But the point is that we're challenging people's mindsets. We are going to go a little deeper in looking at some of this. I deliberately, I'm not necessarily sharing in depth some of what I could do, because if you want an in-depth understanding of what I could share with people and how to get out of some of these issues, you need to pay me for that, because that's how it is. Everything is not free.
Nope.
If you want me to come and talk to a group or come and speak at a function or whatever, I can happily do that, and I can share some deeper things and work with people to help them move forward in certain areas where they may be stuck, particularly and especially people who look like us. You understand? But I'm not going to share all of that on here on a free platform, because it doesn't work like that. And also, it's not necessary. Because I'd be on here for hours upon hours.
That's the thing.
Because so it's not a quick fix solution. And I'm saying that because even in what we have done as a family, it started from a long time ago. We've not just been having these conversations now that we've jumped onto Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We talk like this all the time. It's been years,
We've had these discussions for a long time.
And this is our point, that we want to encourage other families to pick up this kind of dialogue, effective dialogue. Not just, I don't like white people, that white teacher is racist, that white teacher is not good to me, they don't like me, the white kids at school don't like me. Like, okay,
We get it. You know?
Right. But now, what are you
What
doing
more?
about it?
Yeah. And how are you acting?
You see,
Yeah.
because that is always going to be my question.
Yeah.
What are you doing about it?
Mhm.
How did you respond?
Mhm.
And what do you think was right or wrong about the whole
Yeah.
situation?
Mhm.
Because you're not always right, and nobody is always right, and nobody is always 100% wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when many people have complained about injustices, they've only looked at one side of the angle, and they've not looked at what they've done. They've not looked at their own behaviour. It goes on. Black Lives Matter Sweden. Okay.
What's that?
I don't know because I can't open it now.
open it.
It's
No,
like
because it's a link to something.
it's a link to something. We'll have to
Yeah,
look
I'll have to have a
afterwards.
look, yeah.
But you see, I knew that not so many people would want to take up the challenge to speak about what's happening, of how black people are behaving with each other, because they want to act as if that's not an issue. Because what's going to happen is this. Let me give you a bit of a prediction, a prophecy for our Christian people, if you like. In a short while from now, this whole scenario of things is going to die off.
Yeah.
And why am I saying that? Because I've lived more than 50 years, so I know. All right? This is not the first time that this kind of stuff has come up. For us of this age, we know a whole heap of things that have gone on in the UK, right? And we can name names of people who have been killed by police, and all these things. And there was a big uproar. There was riots in some cases, and so on and so forth.
Even just few
Little
years.
bits of law were adjusted here and there.
Yeah, that's what they did.
And then eventually it dies off, and
Back
then
to
maybe the finger pointing at the white people and so forth is less. And we just carry on. But then what is it that we carry on doing?
The same thing.
We carry on doing the same things.
Yeah.
Not supporting each other as black people.
Yeah.
Dividing ourselves as black people.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're Christian or non-Christian, whether you're Muslim or whatever.
Yeah, because that's another thing as well.
There's a division. There's a division.
Any way they could find a division,
they are making them.
Yeah.
You see? And those things are going to continue if we don't start addressing them realistically, challenging them, challenging the mindsets. You see? Because before you can challenge behavior, you have to challenge the mindset.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's where it begins.
Yeah.
Before somebody's behavior is displayed, there has been a mindset.
Yeah.
You see? A mindset and attitude, and then comes the behavior. Not the other way around. So if we can challenge the mindset,
yes,
it will then determine what the outcome of the behavior will be.
Yeah. That's why I was telling you lot to watch that. I don't know how many of you did watch that documentary, but
Which one?
Jane Elliott.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You need to watch it because she shows exactly how she exposes the mindset that these people have.
She's good.
Yeah, she's very good. She exposes the mindset that these people have.
Every white person in America is racist. She don't care.
Yeah, because she and the reason she says every white person is racist because, like she said, the mindset, the way they've been brought up, the things that they've been taught in school, the way things have been reinforced from what they've seen, maybe other adults treating somebody or even speaking to somebody in a certain way. All these things contribute to somebody's mindset, because imagine you're a young child, you don't know any difference between black, white, brown. You just know people are just different colors, like animals are different colors. It's the same thing. Yeah. So you as a child, you don't see any difference yet is the definitive word here.
Yep.
Then maybe let's say it's a white person, because I'm going to do both examples. Let's say it's a white person. You go to a shop and your mum says, that black, blah, blah, blah. As a child, that's going to stick in your mind. And you're going to remember that moment and think, oh, gosh, like my mum said black, blah, blah, blah to that person. And maybe even as a child at that point, you might not remember, but maybe even at that point, you knew it wasn't right. And you even thought in your mind, why is my mum saying this, or why is my mum doing this? But it then becomes internalized, and it's because you continuously see this same narrative. You then maybe pick it up and you don't even realize it's subconscious. You've seen them treat people in a certain way, so you think, well, that's how I am to treat them people. And it's the same with black people. The same thing, like we were saying about the different cultures and all that. Your mum is the one, or your dad or your family or whatever, are the ones who are saying, no.
Chat about small island.
Yeah, small island, blah, blah. You're not dating no Nigerian. You're not dating no Ghanaian. And then you carry that on. Oh, yeah, that's right. You know, I just prefer to be with someone of my own culture. Well, why? Where did that come from? Why do you prefer that so much?
But that's
It's
what
because,
your parents
yeah,
prefer.
because your parents prefer that. And now you've subconsciously internalized that same, what's the word, prejudice attitude, because you've been, it's like like I said, you've been exposed to it. So you've internalized it. Because to you, it's normal to you. That's your family setting. That's normal. It's not a strange occurrence.
Because it's in your blood.
Yeah,
because
it's a bloodline issue. And that Jane Elliott woman was exposing these white people's mindsets, showing them that, you see, when somebody treats somebody a certain way, when I'm treating, she said, when I'm treating somebody who has blue eyes badly, she said, somebody with brown eyes, who's also white, can now identify with that and say it's wrong. She said, but if it was a black person, would you be standing up and saying anything?
No.
Would you be speaking? No, you wouldn't. And one girl, she could not stand the experiment, this American young girl. She's even crying and everything and saying, the way they're being treated is disgusting and she shouldn't have to put up with this. And then she's gone and walked out of the classroom.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then she tried to come back. And Jane said to her, no, you're not coming back in here. She said, you are not. She said, because you know why? You've just done what no black person or coloured person is ever able to do. You've walked out of the situation, so you no longer.
You can't walk out of your skin.
Yeah, and that's what she was saying. You can't walk out of your skin.
We can't take this off.
She said, I've been doing this to you for 3 hours, and look at the results. She said, imagine a lifetime of this.
Exactly.
How would you feel? And then even the people are saying, you've made your point now. You've made your point. Because she said that, yes, she likes to challenge people and she wants people to, if they cry, good, because she knows that she's hit the nerve, she said. And even then, when she sees them crying, she still digs deeper, she said, because she needs to make sure that they understand how it feels to have such a prejudice put upon your life everywhere you go. Or everything, everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's not everyone, it's still some people are treating you in this way. And she wanted these white people to understand that feeling. And imagine if you're only experiencing it for a few hours and it's hurting your head, or you're crying, or you're walking out, or even one woman. This is on the English documentary. She had brown eyes, so she was with the brown eyes, and of course, with brown eyes, then the black people are also in that group. With the white people, and the blue eyes were there, sat on the floor, because she said they ain't getting no seat. They better sit on the floor. Yeah, and they had to do this test, and the test was rigged. So the blue-eyed people were going to fail, and the brown-eyed people were going to succeed. Now, there was one lady in the brown-eyed group that could not stand that there was this divide between them, and kept trying to help the blue-eyed people. God. Yeah, every minute, she's there doing the woman's test and all these kind of things, yeah. And then it was like she kept messing up the experiments that they were doing, because it's like she didn't want to admit that there was something there. Do you know what I mean? She didn't want the point proven. She wanted to keep saving them other them other blue-eyed white people. She wanted to keep saving them every minute. And everybody in the group was getting vexed in the brown-eyed group, and was cussing her off, saying, you're just mashing up this whole thing now, because you can't even accept that there's an issue that needs to be proven and shown. You don't even want to accept that you're going against it. And her excuse was, she's not racist or prejudiced, and doesn't believe that there's any prejudice anymore, and people shouldn't be. And that's exactly what the issue is.
The problem is, because she don't believe it's there, so she's trying to mash up the runnings.
Exactly, because she don't believe there's any prejudice, she's trying to mash it up. No, this is pointless. Go home.
Don't be
then.
there.
And that's what Jane Elliott was there. She said you can leave if you want to leave. She said, but I'm still doing this. She's like, and you people need to understand that I'm not going to stop doing this until everybody's mind, understand what's going on.
She's been doing
She's still
She's
on there
been doing
now.
it all her life.
Yeah, all her
To
life.
prove the point, and the point has been proven.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is the thing, because one of the points that she's proven from that what you like to call social experiment,
Yes, that's what it is.
is that homogeneity does matter.
Yeah.
When people homogenize and understand how to homogenize, it does make a difference.
That's an
And this
awful
is
word.
it is an awful word, right? But it gets the point, you know, because that's exactly that. You've got to gel together.
Yeah.
You see, because this is the reason why we have the issue that we have got to actually learn how to get together. And now, when you talk about the fact that we have Black Lives Matter, and then people tell you stop talking about Black Lives Matter because all lives matter, and so on and so forth. We are very well aware that all lives matter.
You're not getting it,
right?
No.
But you're missing the point. Now, I
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
subscribe to the political grouping or organization of Black Lives Matter. I subscribe to the slogan, if you like, or the jargon of it, as in Black Lives Matter, because what we're trying to do is to emphasize to you that, hello, all those people who have thought or decided or determined that it doesn't matter, we're telling you that it does.
Yeah.
All right? We are not for 1 second saying that no other lives matter.
Exactly.
Everybody matters, but we have to emphasize it because we're not treated as though everybody matters. You see?
Yep.
And that is the issue. So then we can look at that from several avenues, as we have been. And one of them is the fact that we as Black people also need to unify.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's really needed.
Stop whether you're from Africa, which country in Africa you're from, whether you're from the Caribbean, which Caribbean country,
clashing about
are you from
food,
small island or not?
Is it plantain
Which
or
one of them
plantain?
is it?
No, please don't.
And which country is nyamming monkey? Who nyams monkey brain and who don't nyam monkey brain and all these kind of things. Forget it.
Disgusting.
Forget it. You eat what you want to eat, and if you don't want to eat it, don't eat it. You see?
Which place has got the best jollof?
Who can't make jollof rice and who can't what? Listen, we know already that there's some stupid people out there who said they're chef and they're making rice and peas with green peas. Forget them.
All them too.
Right? Forget them. They don't have a clue.
Yeah.
All right, and we're not even gonna even give them airtime.
This
right?
is what I'm saying.
Forget them. But here's the point: we all have a different palate, right? So some food you like, some you don't. You don't have to start saying because it's African food, or because it's Jamaican food, or because it's no. It doesn't work like that. Because all you're doing then is being again divisive.
Yeah, exactly.
And why are you being divisive? Be supportive.
That's what I'm saying.
You see?
And
go on.
You know, the funniest thing is that when people are good and ready, then it's all and I'm talking about once again the African Caribbean debate. Then it's all I love jollof rice, blah blah blah. They want to eat jollof rice hard, or I love curry goat, jerk chicken. Well, first of all, and this is to both sides. First of all, there's more than jollof rice. Come on now. Second of all, once again, there's more than curry goat and jerk chicken.
And jerk chicken. Yeah. And it's again the same thing because, you know, let me give you an example of something. There's a woman I worked with, a white woman, and she is as racist as they come. And you see me, I even turn my head to emphasize how racist she is, because that's how racist she is. As racist as they come. And the first thing when she found out I'm a Jamaican, she's telling me, I know how to cook Jamaican food as well. Because there was a lady who used to live across from us. I can't remember, I don't know, Miss Evelyn or whatever her name was. And she taught me how to cook Jamaican food, and I love Jamaican food, blah blah blah.
Oh,
and I'm
is
looking, I'm thinking, yeah, you love Jamaican food because you look like you love all food,
Yeah.
right? And those who know me, they know what I mean. So I'm looking, I'm thinking, okay, you say you love Jamaican food because you love all food,
Yeah.
but I definitely know from how you act and how you behave, you don't love me.
Yeah.
You understand?
You don't
So
love
here's where
Jamaican
the issue is: you don't love Jamaican culture. You don't love Jamaican people. You just want to eat their food.
Yeah.
Right? And when we know that that's how many people in the world can be, do better than that.
Yeah. Because that's why
Right?
people
do better than that.
Because everybody has experienced it. Where even Cookie was, she said about the woman back, oh, where are you from? Are you Jamaican? And Cookie said, yeah. She said, oh, yeah, I love curry goat.
Yeah,
it's like, what you on about?
Why do they do that?
I love a bit of jerk chicken. So annoying.
Do you know there's many Jamaicans who don't eat curry goat?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Or who don't like jerk chicken.
Yeah.
They can't eat it. So
Yeah.
that's not even the issue. And if those were the only things, praise God, those things are good because I love them and I can cook them and I eat them.
Yeah.
But we've got more to celebrate about one another than that.
Yeah.
And even beyond that, then so when you're looking at your blackness, right, you're going to celebrate curry goat and rice and peas. You're going to celebrate Bob Marley with reggae.
Yeah.
Right? Which people always who don't know, they start with that. Oh yeah, Bob Marley, the reggae. Reggae is far bigger than Bob Marley. You see?
Serious stuff, bigger, man.
And there's a lot more to it than that and that's why I don't want to go there. You see? Because we have to look at ourselves as much more than that. You know,
we're all
and I'm not saying that food and music can't help you to prosper and survive in this world. They can.
Yeah.
They can. But if that's not your gifting, then you need to look beyond that and know that we've got more than that. You don't have to just be a chef or a musician or an athlete. Go beyond that.
Exactly, because this is what it seems. It's like they only want to accept. Yes, it's still on the terms of black people are all about. It's all entertainment. Oh yeah, I love you, Usain Bolt. Yeah, they love you when you're running their Olympics and doing their high jump and playing their football and basketball for them. Yeah, because why? We are good athletes.
But behaving like hell afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And even you've seen because somebody was cussing off this one No, she's a footballer. This mixed race girl, right? She got cussed off because this manager of the team was a racist pig and said to another girl on the team that was dark skinned, was calling her racial slurs and all these things. Yeah. And this mixed race girl did nothing. She didn't speak up for her. She didn't address it online. She did nothing. And then was even seen on the same day hugging up the manager. Right. So then she came on Twitter and wrote some little Black Lives Matter rubbish. Everybody wrote under there, shut up. Everyone was saying shut up because when the time was there, you didn't want to speak. Nothing. You're only speaking now because you know that you're going to be ridiculed. And that's what's happening. A lot of these people that are speaking up now, even white people, the same thing. You're only talking because you know if you don't, you're going to have a problem. Yeah. And it's as simple as that. And you don't want to have a problem. Yeah. The ones that really don't care, they just don't care. They're not interested. Whether it's Black Lives Matter, whatever. They don't care. They ain't saying jack, yeah, or even they even saying the worst thing. People are sick of it because that's what someone said to me on Instagram. Because I had to cuss someone off because they put up a post about the Christopher Columbus statue, and I said it should come down. And people are writing on thing to me, people are getting sick of this Black Lives Matter crap. Watch your back and all these kind of things. What are you talking about? About watch my back? What? Watch my back for what? You're on the keyboard,
they're
mate.
They're coming through your phone, isn't it?
Yeah, they must be jumping through my screen. You're on the keyboard, mate. What are you talking about? And these are the problems that people aren't, what's the word? People aren't choosing to come together in any way. Everybody just wants to jump on this bandwagon now because for the first time, the whole world has had to take notice. Yeah.
So you see now, if I put my foot out there to trip people up like I like to, my next question then will be this. You go and you'll demonstrate Black Lives Matter, etc., stop killing us, get your knee off my neck. You know, all these slogans and jargon that's out there.
Breathe.
I can't breathe, etc., etc. You're holding me down, blah blah blah. Okay, cool. My question then is very simple. After you're done, finished with all of those protesting and all the rest that goes with it, mashing up statues, mashing up shops, looting from shops,
Yeah.
which that is just basically you're a thief.
Yeah, you're a thief.
When you've done and you've finished all of that, you've smashed out shops, smashed out cars, burnt police cars, and done all these different things. My question then is very simple. What's next?
Next, yeah.
What are you going to do next?
Are you gonna make?
How are you going to make it better?
Yeah.
How are you going to enhance and progress your community
Yeah.
and your family
Mhm.
and beyond?
Exactly.
Those are the questions.
If people have come together now for this Black Lives Matter, people have come together and all this, yeah.
Sarah.
And yeah, people have come together for this Black Lives Matter thing, and you know, it's nice to see people come together and for people to support each other. But the question, like Dad was saying, the question is, how long is this going to last for? Is it gonna in a few months' time, or by the time we get to next year, maybe when things have died down a bit and the world has changed and people have gotten over what's going on and all them things, are we then going to start the foolishness again on Twitter? African versus Caribbean, this and that, jollof plantain versus planting, all these kind of foolishness. Yeah, are we going to be?
I don't care.
Are we going to still be carrying on these foolish things, or are we going to address them and work through this? This is what we really should be doing right now in this time. Yeah, right now in this time that we've got all of this activism going on. You know, Black people want to be together, want to unite. Let's take advantage of this.
Do that and stick to it.
Exactly. Let's take advantage of this time in the world where this has never happened before. Yeah, where the whole world is having protests and everybody, Black people are coming together to fight a cause.
Exactly. We've never had,
Mhm.
or at least not in this way. We haven't had an opportunity like this where we can address the whole world with our issues.
Yeah.
The opportunities haven't been like this for years, and maybe for some people ever.
Yeah.
So now my thing is this: that don't waste that by just shouting and screaming and smashing up things and just pointing the finger at every. I hate you're a racist because you don't agree. No, they may not agree with everything that you say. That doesn't necessarily make them a racist.
It doesn't.
You know, to start pointing the finger at every white person, you don't like Black people, blah blah blah.
Educate.
There are many Black people who don't like Black people. There's many Black people who don't like themselves. So let's not even start with that. And the issue, as I said, is that when you've done all of those things, you've done all the shouting and screaming and protesting, what are you going to do next?
How are we going to work together?
Because many of the people who are loudmouthed right now, if you go back and ask them, okay, over the years, I know, like looking at people within my age group, ask them over the years, what have you done in racial equality?
Yeah.
What have you done to raise the plight of the Black man, of Black people? How have you supported other Black people? And like Angelica was saying there, all they've been doing is clapping their lips, clapping their gums. They haven't done anything. You understand?
They don't even sign petitions.
Have you put yourself forward? And yeah, you may fail many times, but even so, for me, when I lived in Northamptonshire, in my 20s, then I was the vice chairman of the Afro-Caribbean Association for the town in which I lived. I became a member of the Northamptonshire Healthcare Trust. At that time, they had a governmental overseeing body, which I became a member of. I also became a member of the police authority for Northamptonshire. I was the first Black member, and I was the youngest in the whole country at that time. Youngest member and the youngest Black member and the first Black member of the Northamptonshire Police Authority, and one of the only Blacks in the whole country. I put myself out there so that I didn't just be one of those who's talking from somewhere way back there, shouting and screaming, Black Lives Matter. No. Get out there and do something. Put yourself in the forefront wherever it is that you can do. If it's a business that you can run as a black business, run it with excellence.
Yeah.
If it's other things that you can do, if you podcast like we're doing, blogs, do something, but don't just be shouting and screaming, and then at the end of it, there's nothing else that you're doing.
Yeah.
But do more than just make noise.
Yes.
You know, I put myself out there to be involved in this, and sometimes it was very difficult as the only black person in some of these areas. And sometimes they think because you're the black person that means you represent the whole black community. And I used to tell them, no, I don't. I represent the views of John Chambers, who is a black person.
That's it.
And I can tell you from experience how some black people will think. I can tell you from experience, what some of their expectations may be.
Yeah.
But I don't represent all black people.
No, we are so diverse in every aspect: culture, upbringing, even schooling, all of those things. Black people are very diverse, and that's one thing that you can't lump us all together. And I think maybe as well, because we're so diverse, like you were saying, that's why it's harder for us to come together, because people seem to think that my way is the right way and everything else is the highway. You know what I'm saying? So, if you lot are not like us, then get out of it. Yeah, they already have that mindset of they're not like me, so bye. I can't fully identify.
Exactly.
That one's quiet, isn't it? Yeah,
just change the batteries in there.
Oh yeah, they'd be saying, I can't fully identify with you because you're not whatever. You're not what I am. You're not blah 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 blah. And this is where we need to start. What's the word? Challenging that narrative, challenging that mindset, because that's why now I've decided, like I was saying, I'm not keeping quiet anymore, and I ain't gonna stop. So if you don't like what I'm putting on Facebook, Instagram,
that's
whatever,
your business.
Delete me off, mate. I don't care.
I
will never stop now. Yeah, because it's important that we understand that there's more to life than arguing about these little foolish things. Yeah, trivial things. It's only when something serious happens that you lot want to, suddenly now we're all black, we're all together. So what about what about last year? No one was all together then, and no one was all, we're all black. It was all we're this, we're that, we're this, we're that. Yeah. So why? All of that has to be cut off, because until that's sorted out, we're never going to be fully together. We can't progress, because people are never going to fully support somebody else or somebody's business or somebody's whatever they're speaking. Somebody else might not even want to speak to youth that are not like them. So if they see, they're African and the youth is Caribbean, they say, well, I can't relate to them, so I have nothing to tell them, and vice versa. But that's foolishness.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we are all, if you're in the same country, you're experiencing the same
You're
living the same lifestyle.
When the sun is shining, it's shining. When it's not, it's not. You're experiencing the same things.
You're experiencing the same things.
That's literal, but even the same things that you go through in the job is the same.
Yeah.
So don't be like that. But yet you'll see that there are some, where you may sometimes expect support. The same black people that you expect support from, they are the very ones who sabotage you.
Yeah.
They decide to be the ones who report to you behind your back. That when you're looking for support, when you actually find out who was the one who reported that incident or whatever, it's your own black brothers and sisters that have done it.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. It goes back to the same thing.
Yeah.
That we have to look at that. Now, as I mentioned, I said that we as black people have to become activists.
Yes.
All right. And we need to support one another in those areas. But I'm telling you from experience that quite often it does not happen.
No.
I have made myself to be the forefront of activity for black people, being part of Afro-Caribbean associations and groupings, and I've put myself forward in public office, and all these type of things as a black person, and the support from black communities is quite small.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people who you would expect, you know, because they're the ones now who are all shouting and screaming Black Lives Matter, that when people have then put themselves forward, that they would then say, oh, there is a black person here to support me or to stand up to speak on my behalf, and they don't support what you're doing. Because you see, it's fine for people to just go to a demonstration and shout Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, and then go home.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And
I'm not saying that you're wrong in doing that, and I'm not belittling what you're saying, right? But what I'm saying is that there's more than just that. That's gonna be necessary for you to bring your community to another level.
Yeah.
And I've seen somebody here has just said that all people commit crime against the people near them, and yes, that's true. A community thing, because you find that the people who are in a community are the ones who are living in the community. They're the same ones who commit crime in the community. They're the same ones who benefit from crime in the community. And then they are the same ones who speak against crime in the community.
Yeah.
You see? So that's why I said right at the beginning of this, for those who were there, cognitive dissonance is a real thing.
Yeah. Go and search.
You understand? Go and have a look. Those who don't know what that means.
Don't use Google.
Don't use Google no more.
Right? But if you go and understand what cognitive dissonance is, you will see that that's a plight of us as black people. We fight against ourselves.
Yeah.
We fight against those who are trying to stand up with us together. This is the part of the problem. Because I know, I remember there was an old guy. He's old now. I think he must be probably late 80s by now.
Getting on.
But I remember, I don't want to say his name, but Angelica, you know who I'm talking. And I asked him, I said, there's so many things here in this organization. You just go ahead and just get on and do it. And he said, yes, I do. He said, because if I wait for these bloody I won't put the rest of the words in, because he was very, very colourful with his language. He said, I'll be waiting until I'm old.
Yeah.
He said, because they like talking, but when it comes to doing it, they don't do it. And then if you don't do it the way they expected you to do it, you're wrong. If you don't do anything, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And if you do it and they didn't tell you how to do it, you're wrong. So I just do it and them.
Yeah.
And at the time I was looking at him thinking, this guy is tough. Right? But you know, I was younger then. Experience teaches wisdom, and it's a fact. And I know.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that, you know, you can just talk, and you're just flapping your gums, man.
Yeah.
You know? But when it comes to you actually saying, right, let's now determinedly step out on the behalf of our people, I don't see you.
Yeah.
You've come out and you've marched. Praise God.
What about?
I'm very happy to see that you've marched.
Amen.
But now many of those people, when the lockdown is finished, if you were to now go around and say, right, we need you now to come and sit down, and we're going to actually come together and we're going to strategize. We want to form. We need, you know, we want to build a center. Let's say, for instance, and we don't want to go to the government and ask them to do it for us, so that they then control it, or then tell you that they're gonna close it.
It's for everyone.
Right? But we want to build it so that we are self-sufficient. So we need to raise funds. We need to raise a certain amount of funds so that we can then go and find match funding and all the other, so that we can do that. Now, many of those people at that point, they drop asleep.
Yeah. Then it's suddenly they're not
they drop asleep. They're no more now an activist.
Yeah.
We want to do this so that we can take our young men off the street, give them somewhere to go where they can chill, where we can run it on our terms, where they can come in, a place of safety, somewhere they can sit down and they can talk about what's going on. And even if, you know what I mean, beef is going on, maybe we have a boxing ring, and we fling two of them in the boxing ring, and you know, do what they're doing inside the ring and come out and everybody's cool, and so on. But no, as soon as you then push people to that level, they sleep.
Yeah. And that's the problem.
They sleep.
Wake up.
Why is the government not doing this? Why is the council not doing it? Why are you not doing it?
Why are you?
Because what are you doing about it?
Because when you go to them white communities and them posh places, yeah, go to a little community centre or a little corner shop. Look at the board. That's all I'll say to you. Look at the board, yeah, and
They're
you
doing
will
the
see
most.
how many things they're doing. This dog club, this after school, this rowing club, basketball club,
They're doing the most.
cooking this, that, yeah. All of these things that they're doing for their young people and all these clubs, associations, it all helps them to even, like, say if it's a athletics thing or something like that, or a dance thing, this all helps them to then build up towards whatever career they want. So if they want to become a dancer, they've been going to the dance school from young.
Yeah.
They've done competition, they've done this, they've done that, they're getting qualification, all these things. In the black community, it's few and far between. Yeah. In their community, they're thriving. There's lots of them. You even have different choice. You want to do cheerleading, you got about 10 different schools. If you was trying to find a black cheerleading school, I don't know if there is one here in Leeds. I don't think so.
There isn't.
Yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying, you see. So there isn't one. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And if somebody was to then say, oh, I'm starting a thing, there will be people that know themselves they can go and do that and help them and look after the children. But instead
They're
of
not
saying,
going.
I'm not helping them, I'm not doing it.
Or they say, I'm not only going to go if I'm how much am I getting paid?
Yeah. How much am I getting paid?
These black people are getting the money and I need my donation out of the money. And again, I'm not talking fresh, I'm talking from experience because I've run children's play schemes and I know.
Yeah.
And we've taken children from social services, some of the very difficult ones who put bricks in the toilet and all these kind of things. And you know, we had to fundraise for that as a black community. And now here was the thing, when we then are going around asking basically people who are sat at home on their bum doing nothing, and we're asking them, can you come for a couple of weeks and work even with some of your own children? Your children are going to be there.
Yeah.
All right.
Just
We are funded.
kids.
So your children are not paying for this. We had Brazilian drummers coming in. We had swimming. We had sport activities, all kind of thing, taking them to the zoo on all funded. They weren't paying anything, right? They weren't paying anything. And I had to go around literally almost on my knees begging black parents to be involved so that we had enough adult supervision. And this were their own children.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me as if they want me to beg them.
Yeah, like why should I?
And this is all the things that we're talking about. And you know,
we can watch my child, but I'm not coming to help.
That's right. You know, we've been talking for a bit, and I'm tired of this now because I'm vexed. Right, so we're gonna be finishing just in a minute. Right, because I don't want to get too hot on this subject because we have to come back in a part 2.
Yeah.
And I don't really business how many people even come on to watch it live or not. Whoever watches it, they'll hear everything that I have to say, and I'm coming back with more. Yeah. Because the last thing I'm going to say is this, because it is a serious thing. Black people, stop being lie and thief to each other.
Yes.
All right. And none of you tell me that you don't understand what that means. Lie, L-I-E, L-I-A-R. Stop being liars. Okay, so those who didn't understand this language, you do now.
You do.
Stop being liars and thieves.
Yes.
Stop doing it to each other. All right, because that is part of the biggest issue and the biggest problem that we have. That you don't support one another, you step on each other. We need to stop that.
Yeah.
All right, I told you I didn't come on here to preach, but I can well and preach. There's no problem for me to do that, and people must know that what they're doing is wrong, and we will challenge it. And even if you tell me, shut up, we don't want to hear, I don't care, because you can't silence me. I'm on my own page doing my own thing. You either listen or you don't listen, that's up to you. But we know that the issue is there, and we will continue to challenge it and speak to people and say, hey, listen, it's very good and well pointing a finger outside of your own community. Start looking amongst yourselves. Look at what you do and what you don't do. Look at who you don't support and how that feels when you don't support. Because I know from experience, I've been battering my head trying to get things done for my own people, my own community, and they just stand back and fold their arms and look and watch. And when it doesn't turn out right, they criticize. Shut up!
They're the first to say something.
Because you are part of the problem and you're not helping to solve it. But instead you're just saying, oh,
look how
or why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? No. Don't try that with
Yeah,
me.
Don't.
No,
Please.
If you don't want to be involved, stay silent.
Yeah.
Forever.
Just hush.
that's it. Let's be real. And that's the only way that we're going to progress is by being real with one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call it out when we need to
Stop
call it out.
sugarcoating just
You
because
see?
we're the
The name
same
ain't
colour.
Willy Wonka.
When you're wrong, you're wrong. And when you're right, we'll celebrate.
Yes.
God bless you all. See you next time. We're gone.
Bye.
No, man, I'm vexed. I'm not even joking.
Why is it not coming up?
This is what I mean.
You see what black people are like? They're